No minister this morning. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's shameful that Boris Johnson over the last couple of days hasn't answered the central question as yes or no. Was you at a party at 10 Downing Street when everyone else was in lockdown? He could have cleared this up within the last couple of days. I took the question yesterday, the urgent question. He still didn't turn up to Parliament. His ministers didn't turn up to Parliament, bar the unlucky one that got the short straw. And he's still not answered that question. So I think it's not unsurprising that no one had turned up today to answer to it because, quite frankly, to anyone who lost a loved one, who was not able to visit them and see them in their dying hours, it's pretty despicable to find that they were partying at number 10.
He will turn up today because it's Prime Minister's questions, of course. If he doesn't, then that's a whole new can of worms, isn't it? Will you be asking the questions?
I don't know yet. It depends on Keir's test results this morning.
When's he having those?
I think he's having it this morning. I've been on the media round, so I'm not sure. Okay. He did test negative yesterday, so if he tests negative this morning, then he should be fine, yeah.
Then he can.
But you know Keir Starmer's luck, so I'm not taking anything for granted.
I mean, he's had COVID, what, 76,000 times now, hasn't he?
He's had a pretty bad run of it, to be honest.
We wish him better, and it was negative yesterday. So
it was, so hopefully he'll be there this afternoon.
And he's had a week to think about what he's going to ask the Prime Minister. What do you think his first question will be?
I think he'll be as frustrated as the public are regarding what the Prime Minister's done. Nobody wants to be in this circumstance when we're at a time of crisis. You know, the country are facing a cost of living crisis. There's other things that people are rightly concerned about at the moment. But quite rightly, those that are still grieving, those that remember those dark days of having those restrictions will be pretty cheesed off and upset that they see the Prime Minister has actually attended a party in Downing Street when he's clearly broken the rules and the law. That's not what we expect. And that's regardless of political persuasions. Even Conservatives will say that is not what you expect from the Prime Minister of this country.
That was then, some might say. This is now. And the Conservatives have managed to steer us through a global pandemic.
Well, if you look at our death rates, they have been pretty shocking. We've seen that the waste in terms of public procurement contracts, and so therefore, whilst there has been, you know, the vaccination programme that the NHS worked on and our great scientists in the UK was a great success and continues to be a success, there are failings that the government have shown throughout the pandemic. But this is the number one critical one for me, is that the Prime Minister, the allegation is that he's lied and he's broke the rules and broke the law, and that is the most serious allegation you can put to a Prime Minister at a time of crisis.
We had a YouGov poll, snap poll yesterday, and still 26% of people feel that the Prime Minister shouldn't resign. That's a reflection on your party as much as anything.
I think, you know, people are entitled to their opinions. People are concerned at the moment. They just want to see things improve for their lives, and I completely understand that. But many of the public now, I mean, it won't come as a shock to people that I don't think Boris Johnson was the right Prime Minister for this country, but I think the general population now and the British public feel that they've been lied to, deceived to, and are feeling pretty angry and upset. And those that have lost loved ones and were not able to be there in those dying hours feel that the Prime Minister has really let them down on a level that they never expected any Prime Minister of this country to do. Yeah,
you only have one vote, though, and the majority felt that Jeremy Corbyn was certainly not the right Prime Minister. Did the party put up the wrong person against him?
Well, you know, in 2019, we lost the general election and lost it very badly, and we've had to reflect on that. And since I became Deputy Leader of the Labour Party and Keir became Leader, we've been doing a job of making sure that the public can see that we acknowledge where we were and that we take those issues forward. That's why this week, only yesterday, we were in the House of Commons trying to get the government to relieve the pressures on working families around the energy crisis that we face at the moment. So really trying to show the public that we're on their side. And I think that's starting to cut through, and you know, we had to acknowledge that. But the actual, you know, what people have seen from this Prime Minister over the last 12 months, and certainly in the last couple of days, where he hasn't even had the decency to answer a very simple question: was you at a party at your flat during lockdown when people were told not to or not? I think shows the level of the man, really, that he hasn't been able to come forward and say that.
He's a very busy man. Perhaps it was on his other phone.
He wasn't very busy yesterday. It's an urgent question. He's a parliamentarian.
He didn't know what he was doing on the 20th of May.
Well, I think the general public will make their assumptions. I mean, we all saw his media appearance where he was actually smirking when he was asked the question. I think the British public...
That's an unfortunate mannerism that he has when he's under pressure. I don't necessarily... I think, you know, and I'm not the first... I'm certainly not defending Boris Johnson, but that's what he does when he's under pressure, like a naughty schoolboy.
He had the opportunity yesterday through the urgent question, through Parliament, to come to the House and to tell the British public whether he was partying or not when everybody else was in lockdown.
What if he didn't remember?
Well, he should remember. I mean, I think he'd find it pretty hard not to remember whether he was at a lockdown party or not. I certainly didn't have any lockdown parties and didn't attend any. It doesn't take me to look at my diary to see whether or not I was at one or not on that day.
Yeah, but you're not
I know for a fact I was.
I mean, look how busy he is.
Well, we all were, but I think we all know whether or not we broke lockdown rules.
As far as he is concerned, if he did, are you more concerned that he went to the party, or are you more concerned that he misled Parliament?
I think, you know, the frustration is not only is it around the fact that he shouldn't have been breaking the law and breaking the rules, and he should come to the House and speak to the British people as quickly as possible about that, but it's the fact that for time and time again now he said that nothing happened, no rules were broken, and the allegation centrally now is that he was actually attending this party during lockdown. So it shows that he's not only broke the rules, but he's lied to the British public, and I think that makes his position completely untenable.
So you're calling for him to resign?
I think I mean, it wouldn't be a surprise that I think he should go, but I think more crucially now is members of Parliament, his Conservative MPs, have to ask themselves the question is why are we propping up this man who has lied to the British public and who has broke the rules and broke the law?
The fact is, they are, though. They're still supporting him.
Well, we'll see what happens today.
What are you
we'll
predicting?
see what Boris Johnson has to say for himself. But anyone who props up a liar who breaks the law, to me, is, you know, that's a completely unacceptable position.
So what are you suggesting might happen today? Because we have been speaking to other colleagues, other peers earlier today, and they were suggesting that fewer backbenchers might be behind him today.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he could pick up the phone straight away. He could speak to you on your show and he could clear it up. He could clear it up very quickly.
Absolutely, Mr Johnson. And honestly, I can clear the schedule for you. If you're watching this morning, I know you do watch in Downing Street. As you heard from Ms Rayner, there's room on the sofa for you as well. Just come along and talk to us. It's best to come clean.
It is. And you know, it's the British public that he needs to come clean to. You know, they're the people that have sacrificed so much. Our NHS workers, our key workers who have provided care, and, you know, they've sacrificed not seeing their loved ones, and they're all upset at the moment. They want to know, Boris Johnson, did you have a party in Downing Street when everybody else was in lockdown, yes or no? He has to answer that question today.
And if he admits to it and comes clean and says he's sorry and he apologises, don't we just move on then?
I don't think we can on this, to be honest. And I think the last couple of days have shown that the fact that he's been lying about it and not telling the public the truth as well really undermines his position as Prime Minister. You can't break the law.
So it's not about what he
frequently.
did, it's about the fact that he didn't come clean. Is that what
I think it's both. I think it's harmful on both accounts. I think what he did shows that when people were not seeing their loved ones who were dying and in critical care, they're really devastated. They're still grieving about that process that they went through. And the Prime Minister at the time was partying. I mean, that in itself is bad enough. But then to try and not tell the public the truth and come clean about that, I think that just adds insult to injury.
But many members of the public will say he stood by us during lockdown. He made sure that there was enough money during the furlough scheme that we could continue on feeding our families. He's tried to support us as far as energy prices are concerned. Well, let's wait and see what happens as far as April is concerned. And on balance, he is a good Prime Minister.
We've had one of the highest death tolls. You know, COVID has been very disastrous for the UK. And, you know, I pay tribute to those in our NHS, those scientists that helped us with the vaccination process. We haven't had the inquiry results into what happened. We know billions of pounds were wasted on PPE contracts and contracts that we couldn't use. And the Prime Minister now is the central allegation is he's lied to the British public and he's had parties during the lockdown. I think that's a pretty damning and serious position for the Prime Minister to be in.
Talk to me about the role of the police.
Well, if the law was broken, the police have an obligation to investigate that, and I think they should do that. But like I say, this could be cleared up very quickly by Boris Johnson. Yes or no, did you have a party when you shouldn't? He knows that. He's the Prime Minister of the country.
But what should the police be doing? They did previously, I was talking to Alistair Campbell a few moments ago, and they did question Tony Blair under caution when he was Prime Minister.
Well, the police have to uphold the law. You know, they have an obligation to the British public. You know, we police in this country by consent. If the law was broken, they have an obligation to investigate that. But like I say, you know, the Prime Minister...
They can only know if the law's been broken if they investigate, and up until now they haven't.
Yeah, and, you know, I've said that any findings that Sue Gray has into her investigation should be handed over to the police for them to look at that. But very crucially, like I say, I think it's not about what the police have done. It's about Boris Johnson is the Prime Minister of the country. He set those laws in the first place. He can very simply answer the question, did you break the law or not? OK,
we've got a picture that's just reaching us, actually. I think this is the Prime Minister this morning in his vehicle. There we go. Can't can't really see him, can we? But I know that that is the PM's car. He is due to be at Downing Street shortly, and then at the House of Commons by midday today for Prime Minister's questions. Let's see if he attends. I'm sure that he will. He is the Prime Minister of this country, of course. If, for how much longer, don't know. If not him, then who are you most concerned about facing opposite the dispatch box next time your boss gets COVID?
Well, we'll have to see what happens today. I'm not concerned about facing any of them. My job is to be the official opposition, and I'll continue to do that and hold the government to account, whoever it is. You know, his cabinet are just as responsible as he is, and every Tory MP that props him up at the moment are just as culpable for allowing him to continue in his role.
Are you confident that he'll turn up today?
He should do, but, you know, you never know. He could have been... he could get a lateral flow test that tests positive or not, but he doesn't have to attend Parliament to tell people whether or not he attended that party or not. He should have done that immediately. He's had many opportunities over the last couple of days to do that. He's failed to do it, and I think he should come clean as quickly as possible.
Good to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time to join us. Thank you.